The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast with limited commercials. Now, here's host, Dom Geneva.
Good morning, gang. This is Dom Geneva, your host on the No Nonsense Roundtable, and we are heading into our 7th year. And the first guest of the year for each of these years has been a fellow that you all know, and his name is Bob Duffy. And let me explain a little bit about what Bob's done during his life.
So you were my first guest back in 2019, and now I got to thank you for that because guests beget other guests. When they say Bob Duffy's come on, it's like, oh well, if he can come on, I can come on too. So it helps. It helps my reputation as damaged as it is to have you come on. And I always introduce you. I said, it's like your business card should be a cube. I mean, so for anybody that doesn't know Bob, I mean, you have to, first of all, you have to be living in another planet or New Jersey or something. but you start out as a police officer, then police chief, then mayor, and a lieutenant governor, and now president and CEO of the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce. So somebody who's had a very varied and successful career without ticking off too many people is Bob Duffy.
Well, thank you, Don. First of all, it's an honor to be on your show, especially the first ones of the year. I am. It's a privilege. You are not only a great host, you've been a great business leader here, and I think your show is excellent. I listen every chance that I get.
Well, I appreciate
based on my careers, I would say this: I'm very lucky. I'm a kid from the 10th Ward. If I were to stop and think the experiences that I've had now in my life, if I thought possible back then, I would have said no way. And I've been lucky to work with and around great people, be married to a great wife, have a great family, great friends, support system, and I look at my life as just being one. I'm very, very fortunate. Left out my parents. I'm a product of two outstanding parents. So it's been terrific. And I just really appreciate being a part of it.
Well, you've taught me some things, and I don't know if actually every once in a while I get a chance to teach as a guest speaker at RIT. A person that's become a very good friend of me is Dr. D.T. Ogilvy. And she used to be the dean of the School of Business, at the Sarno School of Business, and actually we are going to be writing a book together, believe it or not, about pretty much, and the working title is the 3-day MBA. What you need to learn in college, and what you learn at college you have no need for ever, and what you learn outside of college, and part of it is negotiation tactics, and maybe you'll be embarrassed by me saying this, but I think it's wonderful. You say you would prefer to default to constant, gentle pressure than arguing with people, which has got to be one of your talents.
Now, one of my life mottos, and I have several. One is gentle pressure, relentlessly applied. That's what I live by that. It's interesting. I get criticized a lot. I go on social media just to listen to some things. I'm not a social media warrior. I do not criticize people publicly. I don't go on social media and blast people in elected office because of what's going on. Because I represent a lot of people in the chamber, over 1,300 members, and I have to go to work and work with people. And you don't get anything done by throwing the proverbial grenades. You get it done by relationships, listening. And do I agree with everything? No, I don't. But the bottom line is it's the way I operate. And every now and then, if I say something on social media, well, where you been, Bob? And well, I'll tell you what, any major issue today, whether it be safety, inflation, you name it, there are a lot of people in office that have certainly heard from me and heard how I feel about things, but not in a public forum.
Right. And this brings me to a point, maybe I'm going to make a little bit earlier than later. let's talk in this first segment. We can talk about it later about this idea that I have. Okay, so I pitched Bob and a number of different people on an idea, and my thought is this: is that I'm from the outside. I'm from Long Island. I spent a lot of time in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you come here, this is a pretty darn good place to live. I mean, the quality of life is wonderful. I'm looking at all of these things, and we're about ready to head into a break in a minute or two. But the schools are good. Yeah, the inner city schools have some problems, but the schools, generally speaking, are very good. You have colleges, healthcare. You have the Eastman Theater, Kodak Hall at the Eastman Theater. You have the Hochstein Jiva. You have a West Her Theater. You have the Innovation Square. The food is fantastic. All these restaurants here. You have the Science Museum, the Museum of Play. You have sports. You have Ameryk's Red Wings. You have beaches. Property values are very affordable. You're close to parks. You're close to beaches. You got an accessible airport. The commute times are fine, and there's no wildfires, floods, or tornadoes. What more do you want?
Dom, I agree. You know what? When I left Albany, people wondered why I didn't stay. I elected a one term. The former governor wanted me to stay. I want to come home. This is home. This is where I was raised. It is a great place. It really is. And it's where I want to live. I don't want to move to Florida. I don't want to move elsewhere. I love the region. I love the people. I love the weather. I like to change the seasons. And you're right. Within less than an hour drive, I'm in downtown right now. You could be in mountains, lakes, wineries, breweries, rivers, parks, and a great urban dining experience. You have it all in this region. And far less traffic. We don't ever complain about traffic in Rochester. We know, what traffic is. I know what traffic is. We don't have traffic.
Oh, yeah. I believe it or not, the traffic in Charlotte was horrible, because the roads didn't keep up with the population. But like I said, a little bit of self-serving thing. I don't think you're really going to have a problem with this. But, so I'm forming an investigative, sort of a couple of Facebook meetings, maybe, or Zoom meetings. We had a little bit of a problem getting the Zoom done today. So, maybe we'll use Teams the next time. But I put a bunch of people together. Dick Kaplan, we all know Dick. Don Jeffries, Naomi Silver, DT Ogilvy, and Varick Bayana, just to get together and talk about the idea that we need to do something. I don't know what it is, something to promote Rochester as a great place to live. I'm thinking that there's a number of different strategies and tactics we can do for that, and I'd like to be a part. I'd like to be a part of that because to me, if I was thinking as a marketing guy, my statement would be tech hub and all that jazz. We are very technologically advanced here, and especially young people these days, they like to network and come to college and stay. I mean, I don't think there's any downside in this, and just kind of investigating the thought of it.
Yeah, I agree. You have a great group there. I'm a big fan of Dick Kaplan, especially. Dick is a very innovative, creative business leader, as you know. Created so many businesses here. Naomi is part of baseball royalty here in Rochester. I know DT very well. I think she's from Newark or the Jersey area. A great addition up here. And Don Jeffries. When I was with the state, I watched Don go to work for this area in Albany and New York City. Huge advocate. But I think people have this tendency of complaining. It's snowing today. It's cold. It's hot. I've heard people complain. I'll go back to my time as a police chief. I had a great police officer one time who I knew very well. I think I was chief or deputy chief. And this person complained. This is terrible. I hate this. I hate this. I'm like, why don't you leave? He goes like, leave? Why leave? Well, if you don't like it, I wouldn't stay anywhere where I'm not happy. I love my job. I love being there. No, I don't want to leave. I think people it's this mentality that people get into that it's like, maybe it's groupthink. We have a great place up here. And I think the key is our elected officials at all levels, especially the state, working hard to keep people here and keep them here and not have them flee elsewhere because, we have high taxes. We have a lot of issues, regulatory issues, but we have a great quality of life and a great place to live.
So, Bob, we're going to be heading into a break. And after the break, we're talking a little bit more about, strategy and tactics.
And now we pause for a few messages. This is Dom Genova from Myers Creative. People get DNA tested to see where their ancestors came from, and that's all you get, where they came from. How about if you could actually have a video of past family? Well, you can't do that for the past, but you could do it for the future. John Myers can visit your home and video a professional and thoughtful interview for you to pass down to generations. Book one for yourself or give one as a Christmas gift to mom and dad to talk about their story, or both. Go to lifeinterviews.com. Well, welcome back, gang. We're talking to Bob Duffy. Yes, that Bob Duffy. And I'd like to explain what Bob Duffy has done during his life. He was a policeman, a police chief, mayor of the city of Rochester, and lieutenant governor, and then now he is the president and CEO of the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce. What a great guy.
So I'm floating an idea that maybe talking to Dick is great, because when you talk to Dick about strategy and tactics, right? He understands strategy, and people start arguing with tactics, not the strategy. Now, the strategy is, should we do something that elevates our image, ourselves, because a lot of people are defining us by lake effect snow, garbage plates and crime. This is the perception by some people who don't know. Okay, so let's start branding ourselves as technologically advanced and great place to live, that's generally the strategy. Now, the tactics, there are a couple of different tactics. One tactic that I think would be great is to have something like a Kennedy Center-ish a type of event, because when I took a look at the Eclipse Spectacular that was done at the Blow Cross Arena, unbelievable. I mean, man, what they did with that was multidimensional, and there was something there for the kids. There was the RPO, there was a gospel choir, there was a sing along. My Lord, it can be done. It can be done. And the other presentation that I saw just recently was the centennial celebration that Nazareth had, and the same thing. They give awards to people in different types of activities at the college. One was sports and music and stuff like that. And Jack Alaco got up and conducted 150 people on stage, and it was fantastic. But my thing is that part of what Dick is talking about is having something that gives us national attention every month. Okay, which is a pretty good idea. My part of this is that I think we should have something that celebrates people of all sorts of dimensions. I mean, where's the award for Jack Gardner? I mean, really. I mean, he doesn't. But he doesn't fit into the Music Hall of Fame. And I know the Eastman has given him some award. But where's there some place where, as a community, we celebrate people like Jack Gardner? And that's just one of them. So I made this webpage, and it's called rochesterhonors.org, and I want people to go take a look at that and just kind of think about the idea. Maybe we should get together and I think the thing we come against, and I think you'll agree with this, is this thing where people think it's a zero-sum game. If I do something, then if I contribute something, then I'm going to lose something to this. And you got to come across that all the time.
I also think a lot of the programs now that honor people are done in a way to sell tables and chairs as opposed to just honor that person.
Right.
Some are just losing their value because you know what? They're like 5,000 people hit this honor, and we have a lot of special people that have left us, a lot that are still here. We have tremendous cultural talent throughout the city that doesn't come together. We're often divided in many ways, racially, geographically, but there's so much good and goodness here. And I've said this, go back to my time as police chief and mayor. Some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life, and I've surely have had a chance and opportunities to meet a lot of people, a lot of different stations in life, are in some of the poorest neighborhoods in Rochester that I just loved, that will give you the shirt off their back, that are just so good to the bone, and do everything to try and make their family, their street better. And they get lost in the wayside. They're kind of like pushed aside because those that really are leading the bad behavior side get most of the attention in the news and otherwise. But I agree with you. I think it'd be a great way to really focus on the success and the fabric of Rochester and celebrate it.
And the thing about it is that I think sometimes when people hold these things, they forget what the ultimate goal is. The ultimate goal is to honor somebody, but the ultimate goal is to entertain and not bore people. And that's the thing that I saw with this Nazareth presentation. They gave presentations out, and they did a nice little video on everybody, and they went across the spectrum of disciplines and whatever. But it was always something else that they're shooting at you that was entertaining. So no matter who they're inducting. No matter who they're inducting, it was interesting. I mean, they do the daytime Emmys during the daytime for a reason, or the technical Emmys for the Oscars, not during Pride time for a reason. But that's just one of the tactics, And Dick is brilliant. He's talking about, well, maybe we can have this, and maybe we can have this. And you got the Jazz Fest. I mean, think about that. You say Newport, what do you think of? Jazz Festival. Well, why don't we think of a Jazz Festival here? Right? I mean, we got all these things, and I think a lot of people don't know about it. And what precipitated with me is, I'm driving to where my daughter lives in South Bend, and I'm going, well, yeah, geez, Buffalo's got an identity. Cleveland's got an identity. I don't know about Toledo, but we have an identity. I know you guys have tried a lot of this stuff too over the years, and just because we tried something, and it's okay, try again, right?
Listen, we have a lot to promote here. I believe that there's a lot of success here, and we should honor people that have done so much. We recently honored Tom Golisano.
Yes.
For all that Tom has done.
Yes.
Thanked by organizations, but there's never been this community outpouring of thank you. Everywhere you look, there's some impact that Tom has made here in a Rochester region. And when he gave all that money away, $360 million, and one morning at the Golisano Institute, I remember him telling me a few days after that, only one elected official reached out and said thank you, said a little thank you note. And I think he was shocked by that. Unfortunately, it is sometimes shocking. Maybe people just took it for granted. You don't take a Tom Golisano for granted or anybody, because had he not been here, done what he had done, it's not just contributions. It's the jobs. It's the wealth. It's the investments. It's people that became wealthy thanks to Tom, buying stock, working at paychecks. He's a one-person economic development machine. But going back to your point, yes, celebrate these people, thank them. Not when they're dead, if we can avoid it. Do it while they are alive.
Wow, yeah. But that is more of a salient point right now than you like to. What we're going to talk about, we're going to head into another break, and we're going to talk about that between the breaks.
We'll be talking more about this right after this. This is Dom. Welcome back to our show with Bob Duffy, our annual show. We're heading into our 7th year. Think about that.
Welcome back. We're talking to Bob Duffy, and I'd like to say, but Bob Duffy, oh my Lord, you can't just say he is the chairman CEO of the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce, but I love saying this because you just rattle it off. You see this path in life just by saying these things. Police officer, then police chief, which is a hell of a career, and if that was all you were meant to do, that's pretty damn good, right? And then you're mayor, okay, that's pretty damn good. And then lieutenant governor. Everybody wishes you were in line, but we'll get into that some other time.
My wife doesn't.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. And then what you're doing now, which is for everybody, is good. I mean, chambers of commerce don't do anything bad for people. It's not like you're in it for the money.
No, I work with a great team every day, and you know what? Chambers represent businesses. They get involved in community issues. I just put a column out recently. It'll be out probably a couple of weeks in a local publication about chambers of commerce. We've been around since 1887 in Rochester in some form or capacity.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of retail for myself here, because you've helped me with my show. You have helped me by giving me advice. You helped me by coming on the show and whatever. And I want to get this out. Like I said, this might be a little self-serving, but we got our Nielsen report the other day, and we have more listeners than the show that's leading into us. Okay, so if we have more listeners than the people leading into us, then people are actually tuning in, which is really kind of cool. And I'm getting these guests now that some of them have a real national presence. I interviewed a fellow by the name of Frederick DeBoer, and he wrote this book about how the title of the book is How the Elites Ate the Social Justice Movement, which is what we're talking about here, about how organizations morph and change over time to maybe they don't serve their constituents the way they are, and how challenging that is. But he's got millions of followers online, as does a number of different people. I interviewed the other day Garrison Keillor. I don't know if you remember Garrison Keillor or not, at Lake Wobegon, and I was able to share with him my town that I invented. I don't know if you knew about this or not, but it's Middle Finger Lake, where,
I have heard, yes,
where life is perfect.
in the heart of the Finger Lakes.
Yeah, where life is perfect but could always be better. And I got a chance to meet him, and we have shirts online for sale for that. And behind strategically placed, like we always do these things in the Zoom meetings. You see this book that I have there? There's the book. It's Don't Be Taken for a Ride. And basically it's how to buy a car without getting, taken for a ride. So being in business for all those years with Genesee Valley, I realized one thing about Rochester is that Rochester is a regional place. You can have a business in Avon and do business all over the area because it's just one giant community. I like what Malik says too. His statement that Rochester used to be a company town, now it's a town of companies. And one of the things you take a look at too is that you're talking about Golisano and whatever, but you have national companies here. And I, as a former corporate employee for Chrysler, when you're looking at this list of places you could work or get transferred to, and when you look at you look at Syracuse or you look at whatever, what does Syracuse have? I mean, Syracuse is a nice place, but Syracuse doesn't have what we have. And if you are looking to relocate someplace or you're living in New York City and you're living in an apartment and you finally want to have a house with a yard, where are you going to go? And I think that's part of what we need to push and promote here. So,
Two comments on it. First of all, on the business side, as you know, not only do I consider you a friend and a colleague, but I've also was a customer. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I were so pleased with the way you and your team did business. We leased a car, super happy with it. My wife to this day will say how happy she was. It just straightforward. Here's the deal. No BS. And you know what? That's what people want. Number one. So I think that's something
that's right.
You should be very proud. Number two, to your other point, when I was mayor, I remember had a meeting with Dan Carpenter, former CEO of Kodak. Mm-hmm. Dan said something that I'll never forget. He said, Bob, from a Kodak perspective, Rochester has always been the hardest place to get Kodak talent to come to, going back in the heyday, and also the hardest place to get them to leave once they were here. So that should be our tagline.
Right.
Once you're here, you're not going to leave, hopefully. But, this whole issue of how people perceive Rust Belt cities and until you actually get here and see what a great place we have. And we have problems. We're not problem free yet. We have crime. We have issues. Find me a place across the country or across the globe that doesn't have those issues. We have them. They're frustrating at times, but we have things that other people do not have. And I think you get that. I get that. We want to make sure other people see that as well.
And that's my, I'm not a sales guy. I hate selling stuff. I mean, I really do. I mean, I would go bankrupt if I had to sell stuff. It's like, you deserve a nice car for $3. Go ahead and get the car. No. But I'm a marketer. I see things that people, maybe don't see. It's like this thing with the no nonsense car dealer thing. I had this instinct that people would like to deal with non-commissioned salespeople and not have a finance manager and whatever. I like what Bill Peterson said. God rest his soul. Bill Peterson said it once, and I really couldn't use this as a tagline. He says, "I buy my cars from Dom because at least I know I'm not getting screwed." Mm-hmm.
No, that's true. I'll tell you what. Think of the times. I'll go back as a very young person buying a car. How many times have people out there listening go to buy a car and, hey, listen, I have to go see the manager. I'll have to come back to you. Well, listen, I'm trying my best. And, you go through this charade back. I'm like, give me the price. Just
Oh,
give
yeah,
me
yeah.
the price.
Yeah, well,
Tell me what it is. I'll make a decision. And your business, you did that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gave us a price. We took that price, and we're
Yeah.
super happy with it.
Well, and the thing is that I would tell people, I said, I know you want to get the car for free, and I want to make $3.5 million when you retire. We're going to have to meet someplace in the middle. That's what we're going to have to do. And so getting back to the book is just about done. It'll be done in the next couple of weeks. It's a rather substantial book. It's sections you can read, some sections if you're interested in leasing. Or I had Patty Singer write a whole chapter on cybersecurity and what happens. Now this Patty, investigative reporter, very well respected. I mean,
And a great wiffle ball pitcher, I might add.
Well, yes, I remember hearing about that. No, she's absolutely fantastic. So, that's one of the paragraphs or one of the chapters in there. But we go through all this stuff. My favorite is that there was a dealer, actually happened to be a local dealer, that put an ad on TV and said your payment on this Grand Cherokee was $250. Your payment's $250. You know what it was? Every other week. It was a $500 payment. So the customers would come into my showroom and go, I want it. What's that, $250? It's not $250. So I would advertise that we had a $30 payment every day. So anyway, no. So getting back to so you have these national companies, and if you're looking to work someplace. And I remember this from back in the day when I used to work for Chrysler. It's like, oh, Chrysler, I can get a job with Chrysler. Where would I have to, where's the headquarters? Downtown Detroit. No, I don't want to do that. Now they moved their location to Auburn Hills, which is in a suburb, a beautiful place. Now all of a sudden going to quote unquote Detroit is okay. It's like Ann Arbor out there. If you ever go to Ann Arbor, it's just absolutely beautiful. But that's what Rochester. I think we need branding. I don't think it's the be all and end all. It's like going to solve all problems. But if you have a chance to advance your brand yourself, I think we should find some way of doing that collaboratively, where it's not a zero-sum game. One of the things I've heard from people that I've kind of floated this idea to, who haven't looked at the webpage, who haven't seen the proposal, I know what you're doing and it's not going to work. It's like,
Hey, we deal with that all the time. I'll correct you on one issue. Quick story. One of my teammates here one time said, well, you don't understand. You're not in sales. I said, I'll correct you. Yeah, I've been in sales for a long time. Mm-hmm. We sell our community. We sell our organizations. You might not have been on the floor selling cars, but you sold your business. Mm-hmm. You sell our region right now by having people on every week talking about what they do and finding really interesting factoids. And I think we have to sell. And I used to tell people all the time, if you're on an airplane, some of the most damaging conversations are when someone says, hey, where are you from? I'm from Rochester, snow, cold. Take that airplane conversation, those 2 minutes, and sell the place. It's great. Stop complaining about it and embrace the fact that we are very, very lucky to be here. Yeah. I'm stuck in traffic for 2 hours trying to get back and forth to work. We pay less for a lot of things. We have more time in hands. Mm-hmm. But, again, selling it, it's not Pollyannish. We're not perfect. But I'll tell you what, I'll put this area up against anyone. Not just the city. I will say the Finger Lakes region. City's a hub.
It's a quality of life.
The county, but it's the region is the huge selling point.
Well, somebody said to me, and it's really, it just frustrated the heck out of me. It says, they follow the money, People go where the money is. No, they don't. They follow where the quality of life is, because there's money and there's money. I have a neighbor here. He's got to be in his late 30s. He I don't know what company he works for, but he relocated. He used to live in California, and he had it would appear to me he probably had a raised ranch in California that cost him $1 million, and he has a house across my yard over here in this neighborhood, and he's like, wow, I got a really nice place here. Rochester's not. Yeah. I mean, you have to know, you have to have some experience with it. If you don't know anything else, it's not a good thing.
Dom, my oldest daughter, she lives in Rochester, came back. She's a realtor, but when she was in Chicago, my wife and I went with her and her husband to look at condos in Chicago. at a very kind of happening area, big neighborhood. Walked upstairs, dentist office on one side, another business, maybe a dry cleaner, up a couple flights of stairs, a very nice apartment. Nice little living room, kitchen, two small bedrooms, a great balcony overlooking a alleyway with garbage cans everywhere. For I believe it was $850,000.
No,
And that was at a condo, third floor. And my son-in-law said, "What do you think?" I said, "Here's what I think. You can come back to Rochester and get an absolute castle for 1/3 of that or less."
Oh, yeah.
And they eventually did. And they did here. And of course, property values have gone up a lot in the last few years with the real estate boom. But what we have here, what we can afford, is so much better than what you'd find in some of the other metro areas. And you know that better than I.
Yeah, and the thing is that what is happening, like I said, as a marketing guy, people are buying the product and then realizing how great it is. Now we need more consideration. That happens after the sales. After the sale, they get the house, they sit here and they go, "Wow, this is really nice here. I didn't realize we had all this stuff." Well, that's not the consideration. You're not getting that. They're not coming here because of that. They're discovering it once they get here. So now we have to do, marketing wise, we have to do something to engage them ahead of time and say, "Hey, put us on your selector list." And this is a sales funnel. This is the thing that made me whatever success I was in the car business. When you are ready, come see us. So the example that I give, I don't know very much about Austin, Texas, but they say Austin, Texas is a really cool place.
I have friends who live there, and I hear it's fantastic, very hot, much hotter than up here. And those friends tend to come back here June, July, and August. But again, as you said, your idea about a Kennedy Center type ceremony or award, I honestly think we should really focus on celebrating this area and not in a Pollyannish, just try and cover up all the bad stuff. No, we acknowledge that, but there's so much good. The good always overwhelms the bad. We just don't see it or realize it, or maybe see it on the news or hear it communicated back and forth every day by our friends and colleagues.
Well, and I look at this, not that you're going to do away with Flower City. Flower City is still going to be there, but Flower City is like, is this Bisquick or is it a flower? Is this lilacs or Bisquick? I don't know. It doesn't say anything. We got to find out what we want to say it, reinforce it, and encourage people to put us on the selector list. And another thing, my wife pointed out to me the other day, says my daughter graduated with a degree in photography. She's doing it very well. She's doing photographs for the New York Times and whatever. And she's living in Brooklyn, and the networking, the RIT networking, the college networking is really amazing. And how many of those students would consider living here? Or the parents when they come here and they're trying to put the kids in college. Okay, you get college, but also look at this atmosphere that we have. And the other thing is that maybe we should get together. There's strategy and tactic. Maybe we should get together with the realtors, and so if you move here, you get a free year subscrition to the RPO, and you get a free to the Red Wings, and you get a free this and that. The other thing, put a package together for the realtors, so when people are moving in, hey, by the way, you get a pass to the jazz. You come here the first year, you get a jazz festival. You get to that, or the RPO is subscription. You know what I mean? Put something together where even if they don't buy it, it brings it to the top of their mind.
I agree. And it's like the old welcome wagon of yesteryear.
Yeah.
You come in and there are things there for you, because the Jazz Fest, right, I think, is one of the greatest.
Oh my God! Yes.
Look at our Strong Museum of Play. People come all over the country to go to the Strong Museum. Our RPO is fantastic. Other RPOs, our orchestras have left upstate cities. We have a great one here. Jiva, I just went to the Christmas Carol a few weeks ago. Loved it. And there's so much going on here. And the Red Wings, you have to see Uncle Phil on the way into the stadium, then go in, have a Zweigels Hots. And, again, you look at the Red Wings, they kept baseball here. It is just an experience you have to love. Then you go over to hockey. And like the Buffalo Bills, we want to keep them in Buffalo. We want to always keep the Red Wings and the Amherst here in Rochester.
Well, the Silver family had Naomi has always been very good to Nita and I, and we were talking to to Naomi. We're talking to Maury. Maury's a great kid, man.
Great guy. Yep.
Oh man, he's got all the potential in the world. What we were there for New Year's Eve, and I was saying to Maury, I said the thing about you guys is you guys get it. You guys get it because you have to understand what your product is. Your product is not baseball. Your product is an entertaining family engagement where you can enjoy yourself, and it happens to be at a baseball stadium. Yeah, I mean, if they're playing well, they're playing well. If they're not playing well, you still go. Yeah, and they get it. They take care of people, and they've woven their way into the culture of Rochester. Some businesses understand that. Wegmans certainly understands that. I mean, think about Wegmans. I mean, it's so when my daughter, I was really funny because when my daughter was in college and she would bring her friends into town, where does she bring them? To Wegmans.
My oldest brother, lives in DC, same thing. But I go back, I mentioned Tom Golisano.
Yeah.
Throw in Danny Wegman, his dad Bob, but Danny, Colleen, Nicole Wegman, Robin, Richard Sands. I got John Perotti at Gleason's. I can go on. The great companies we have here, families that have been invested. What I worry about is the next generation of those families. Will they stay as committed as right now the people in place? And it's something I hope, because we really can't afford to lose that kind of support and philanthropy. But, we also have to make sure we want those people to stay and keep them feeling welcome. The state, our government should make sure we don't drive business out. We help them survive and grow. And anybody that says, hey, listen, socialism works. Hey, listen, I'll buy a ticket to Venezuela, get on or spend a month.
Oh, geez.
Tell me,
yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. And people that sell it are so far off base. To me, our system does work. Is it perfect? No. But you cannot attack business. Business creates jobs, economic vitality. And we have those that say business is bad. I'll tell you what, those that say that probably have not made one contribution to their communities other than carrying a protest sign or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, you want those people to stay here, that feel welcome. As I mentioned about Tom Golisano, thank him. Thank the Sands family. Thank the Wegman family. Thank John Perotti and Gleason's. They've been here since 1865 on University Avenue. I can go on and on about companies that are here that stayed, were invested, and we have families that depend on them. Don't drive them out economically with bad regulatory issues, and don't drive them out by having people not like them and outside their business with protest signs. You know what? I just get me going on that topic. We have to have like 5 different segments.
Well, we're about ready. We're about out of time. I want to thank you again for your help and support. And I want everybody to take a look at that site. It's RochesterHonors.org. I think I bought a .com too. You have to hedge your bets on these things. And when you look at this, and there's an interview with the mayor there too. Don't get too much into the weeds with the strategy. Whether it's going to be green or blue or 12 or 27. I mean, the concept is that this is a great place to live. Most of the people that are here really kind of realize it's a great place to live, although we don't really kind of admit it. And we should promote ourselves as a place where the quality of life is really extraordinarily good, and more people knew about it, and it's good for all of us. So,
Tom, I agree. I think you mentioned the families of Silvers and Wegmans and Sands and Golisano, all that. I think going back to your point, we have to sell the area, and we live in an era of ADHD where it's like these 30-second stories everywhere going. Danny Wegman had a great quote. Others have stolen it in the past, but I remember when I was mayor, he addressed our staff. His speech was like 3 minutes long, but one of the things he said, it nailed it: focus and finish. So you can't do 10,000 things. In my own life, I'm a big Stephen Covey fan, 7 Habits.
Yeah.
I pick 3 to 5 goals. I'm a New Year's resolution person, 3 to 5. And there's national data. If you have 3 to 5 goals, you have a 100% chance of achieving them. If you go 4 to 7 or 5 to 7, it goes down to like 42%. If you have over 10 goals, 0% chance, because you're trying to do too many things. So in this effort, that I applaud you for what you're doing, what you do every week on your show.
Oh, thank you.
Promoting the area. But let's focus and finish, and count me in. I love to be a part of it. Remember, we're all in sales. We sell our communities. We sell Rochester. We don't sell a perfect product. No car is perfect. You can't sell a car that will never break down.
No.
Our community is not perfect, but it's great.
Yeah.
The fabric here is great. We need to address the issues that we face, but also focus on the good and get good people to stand up and not accept some of the stuff we've been forced to accept for far too long.
Well, I agree with that. And the thing that I've learned in my life, and it's going to sound kind of funny, is that I'm not afraid to be humiliated. I learned that in high school gym. So somebody thinks I have a bad idea, they're going to yell at me, they're going to say it's not going to work or whatever. I don't care. You try it, you throw it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, what's the worst that happens? You lick your wounds and you go on. So I'm trying this. A couple of people go, you're never going to get that done. And okay, well, we're going to try anyway and see what happens. So
well, look at Thomas Edison.
Yep.
Look at the times before the bulb came. You look at every major inventor, every major success story. There's no such thing as in business. There's no overnight successes. It's years and years of hard work. But I think it's saying this is to me, a journey worth taking. You mentioned a lot of great people. I think people will jump on board, and you have a great vehicle to push it.
Oh, yeah.
Every Saturday morning on this. Remember, you're not just a marketer, Dom. You're in sales, buddy. You are a director of sales. So count me in 2025. Let's get this done.
I really appreciate it. Bob, the wonderful, thank you once again for everything that you do for me. And God bless you. And we'll see you. Well, hopefully we'll see you before a whole year.
Definitely. Listen, happy to come on again. Happy New Year's to you and your family. And keep up the great work on the show.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
Well, that's it for this week. We'll hear you or see you, or you'll hear us more accurately, next Saturday, 10 o'clock right here. And don't forget to go to rochesterhonors.org and let me your opinion on the opinion page there. Try to be nice. See you next week, or you'll hear us next week.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every Saturday from 10 to 11 on News Radio Wham 1180. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.